But I gave just like I know that thing of like, you know, but I gave a reason. Here's the reasons why though that thing I'm saying in statement is I'm justifying the thing. Like the music when you post a picture.
Yeah.
Which, by the way,
there's reasoning behind that. You know, I
was just gonna, yeah, no, I know. Okay, go, give it to me first. Remind me the reasoning.
The reasoning behind not posting a photo and music on top of the photo is that the way that your brain like receives that is that there's just loud music playing somewhere. It can't possibly be coming from this photo. Whereas if it's a reel or a video, the loud music on the video makes sense because we're used to seeing moving image with music. Okay. And for some reason, I don't know if this is actually true, but I feel like the music is louder when it's on a photo post than when it is on a video. So for me, I just don't understand the reasoning why. You know, I know like loving music, putting it on your story, putting it on a reel.
Yeah.
But when it's just a photo that's static, it feels super aggressive.
Jarring.
Yes.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's also just I think it's a matter of the interface. Correct. So on TikTok, photos always have video. Yeah. Photos have always had music.
Yeah.
They have that. But they have it by default. And every single thing on TikTok has music.
Correct. Yeah. Well, and also like it's a constantly moving app, whereas Instagram is sometimes moving, sometimes is not. More often than not, it is about photography. So when you scroll and all of a sudden you're like, "That's me, espresso." You're like, whoa, where did that come from? You know?
And I do think what you're saying about the sound, it's all the music volume wise sounds the same on TikTok. So like even if it is the picture, like it's not changing kind of, we don't know the answer to this, but like what you're saying, it feels like somehow the music gets louder on the static post on Reels for some odd reason. And it's like it's trying to give you a heart attack to be like, pay over here. But on TikTok, that doesn't happen, which is really interesting. Juan, what were you going to say? You got really excited about probably like I don't mind that or something.
Well, I can't recall exactly now. I was just going to say that.
I spoke too much.
I was just going to say, I there is a world in which I could see that the music could enhance a reel. I mean, or like a video of photos or like a carousel. But if it's just a single photo, that seems kind of odd to me. But if you have like, and maybe it should be restricted as to what songs it could be, because well, maybe this is just because I like her. But if it was like Sade or Diana Krall or like elevator music,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or Instagram could just be Instagram and stop trying to be TikTok. That's a thought.
Wow.
Like, you know, I understand the kids are on TikTok, but let's ask ourselves why Instagram instead of trying to duplicate the same shit that they're doing over there. It looks tired. It looks like the girl or the guy that's in the bar after being much older and they're still wearing and doing the same things they did back in the day. It's like, evolve. You've been there, you've done that. Don't try and be like the kids. Like, you know.
What does Keke Palmer say? It's okay not to be cool.
Yeah. It's okay.
It's okay, Instagram. Yeah. You see, to me, Instagram, she tries to keep up with the girls, but she is
the girl. Exactly.
She is literally the doll. She is literally the only doll. Right. TikTok, she's very chic, but she has no money.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Correct. She's like in the city, like she's a brat. She's just like here. She's working in PR. She knows what's going on.
Yeah. She's a brat for
Instagram married well.
Yeah. Insta is Cher and TikTok is like Madonna coming up, you know, and feeling like she deserves a seat at the table and being maybe a little bratty. And then Instagram's Cher and being like, I don't like her. She's mean. She's a little mean, you know. I just I think I just wanted her kind of like, I don't know, relax. You've seen that interview where she talks about her. Yeah. It's amazing. And it's just I just love when someone reads someone and I actually not reads, but is, you know, you're discussing this person and it's just like, I just think this and I, you know, like she's been thoughtful
are just a little mean. And that's where I take issue. I'm like, this just feels a little mean. It doesn't feel
You're saying the brat stopped doing the brat on
No,
Monday?
no, no.
Oh, sorry. I thought we were calling back to that, and I thought that's really
I mean,
good.
you could. Yeah, you could. I guess you could. I know mean is in the eye of the beholder, I guess, because people think J-Lo's mean and I think she's fierce. So, I think she's yeah, I don't know.
She's not warm.
She's
No.
not warm,
I
exactly.
think I think people interpret a lack of warmth as
Mean.
meanness.
Yeah, mean. Well, that's
because because no matter what, people who are mean are not warm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And that is you can
But
you can
guess
be like,
what? There's a
that
lot of people
was
that are nice that are mean,
Also,
Mm, yes.
There's a lot of mean nice
But
people.
I know, but we wear pink so
Oh,
well,
No, were you talking about who were you referring to as the really mean? The video that I showed you, that I sent you about Katie?
No.
Oh.
No. Well, yeah, that was
Oh.
part of I just meant
Oh,
I think I was talking about how I have had a hot take about the music on the store, the things, and it's like it's not because I don't want people to enjoy things. It's because I want to enjoy things too. And this is getting in my way of enjoyment. It's more of an Instagram read than it is okay.
Uh-oh.
Than it is a read of the people using the feature that Instagram has given them to use.
sure.
Mm.
Yes. As my mom says, yes.
Yes.
Yes. The internet, the world, the internet, everything, everywhere you go, if you only ever listen to this one thing about this podcast, take this with you because it will help you a lot. Douche 3 hours before. No, I would say it's not what you say, it is how you're saying it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's very sometimes it is what you're saying, but very rarely. It's typically how you're saying it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times.
I did. Yeah. When
even the meanest, most racist shit ever.
Mm.
If you just thought about and you asked the questions earnestly and you really spoke about it. I mean, obviously not like name calling, but a lot of the things that people are like, well, that was a racist statement. Well, perhaps, but how did you say it? How did you express yourself? How did you get the idea out there? But anyway, that's just saying the internet is full of that. People just saying things out the side of their mouth, which I love that saying.
What's like a mean sentence, like a traditional mean sentence that maybe you've heard recently or that is said a lot?
Wow.
I
think people they just comment stuff that it's not really mean, but on Friday I was at a bar and someone recognized me, said hello, and they said, "You're much shorter than I expected." And it's not really mean, but if you really unpack that, it kind of is, because
of course
and it's in the tone in which it's said, "Oh, I expected you," but as if that was the good thing, and then what I'm being presented with is not what I expected.
So
I
have a question. I have a question about that then. What if they came up to you and they were like, "Oh my God, you're so much taller than I expected." Like that. Is that a negative, or is
the
it
way
only negative
that tone felt like, "Oh, I'm sorry, is that bad?"
So,
but if they're like,
okay.
"Oh my God, you're so much taller than I expected."
Correct. And if they were like, "Oh my God, you're so much shorter than I thought," how would you feel about that?
It's still not good.
It's still
No, I'm asking for I'm
because of the
curious about
societal
how
implications that tall equals acceptable, short equals unacceptable.
Yeah.
That there's
or
this
tall, impactful.
Right.
Short, not impactful.
Right. And so it's not necessarily mean, but it feels like, why was that the thing you chose to say?
Yeah.
But I think that is people. I think what I mean by that is I do think people speaking on other people's appearances in such a flippant way to these people, it's like, "Oh, that's what you chose to wear," or I don't know. It's just it's a little mean. It's not bashing you over the head with unkindness. It's
No, yeah.
But that's an example that even the way you say that can inform it. It is slightly better. Like, oh my goodness, you're shorter than I imagined.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, all your I don't know if you like really drenched it. Like I
Mhm.
could land that plane if I needed to. I could land that. I
Absolutely.
could say like, "Oh my God, you're shorter than I imagined." I realized because when I was watching you on pose, I guess that means that all your co-stars must be on the same height because you really look like about the same as Billy Porter when you're standing next to him in a scene, and you're like, "Oh wait, this bitch really knows what she's talking about." All of a sudden, I'm like, "Okay, now she's
Yeah.
moved on. She's landed the plane."
And who's to
But
say that
that runway is not always clear at LAX. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a hard thing to do. Yeah. So commenting on a person's appearance in that way out the gate, people can think that they're doing something nice, but really they're not.
It's also just something
I
so
do
weird
that.
to say to someone when you first meet them. Like, and I'm always like, what do I say? Well, I wasn't expecting you to be at all. Like, I
Okay,
did,
so
you know.
Whatever
dame más
happened to hello? How
contexto,
are you?
por favor, because I am curious, I love to dissect like a whole situation. Like, what
Uh-oh.
was the context? What was the situation? Are you at a bar? Like, was this at LAX?
Does it
You're in
matter?
Florida.
Does it
Yeah,
matter?
how does
Well,
it matter?
well,
I don't care if we're at the
no,
Met
not
Gala or at fucking Starbucks. Don't tell me like you're so much shorter
no.
than I
I just like a good
expected.
story. Oh no, no,
Oh,
no. I'm
you
not.
just
I
want me
just
to
want like a
paint
good
I
story.
was at a bar, was at Twist, and this
Know
nice,
it. Know it.
handsome gentleman, he said, "Oh my God, you're the actor," and I said, "Yeah, I am," and he's like, "Oh, you're so much shorter than I expected," and I go, "Yeah, I." Oh, sorry. There was a break
Sorry.
there that he like said hi and then came back, and I was like, "So how are you?" And he's like, "You're so much shorter than I expected," and I was like, "Yeah,
Okay.
well, just expect that most actors are shorter than you expect." And I said, sorry, I don't know what to like, I don't know what to say.
What was he of the
Latin
an
descent.
American of the white experience?
No, he was one of the
Mm.
girls. One of the girls.
Yeah, like
Mr. Brown.
okay. What's so funny about doing this podcast is I learned so much about
Was
all of
she
our isms.
or was she?
Uh-huh. And just like it's interesting. It's
I
interesting.
forgive it more that it was a brown person slightly.
Interesting.
Yeah, to me it seems
Yeah.
it's I don't
There's
know.
less
It's
there's less layers to unpack
was
there.
he tall?
He was a little taller than me. I wouldn't
Okay.
say if he was
But
if he was 6'2" and was like, "You're much
correct.
shorter than I expected," I'd be like, "Well, yeah, I don't know. I just also don't know. I think it's one of those things where it's like, I did tell someone once when they said that, I'm like, that is because your expectation and your want and need is for people to be tall when you see them online or in. So that's something you have to unpack for yourself. I've always been 5'7.5", 5'8", on a good day. Like, that I've never
Yeah.
changed over here. And they're like, well, your pictures. I'm like, my pictures, you can make with them of which, what you wish. Like, anyway.
Mhm.
Not to
Mm.
belabor the
will
point, but
yeah, the touch.
I
Yeah.
think it's a compliment in one way because he's been imagining you a little taller, and so that's been nice. And
but it's not
the
a compliment when
reality,
you're
Yeah, but
not the thing he
but
was
but
imagining.
exactly,
yeah.
but you're attaching value to
Sorry.
something that I don't
Have you never
have.
heard that? Has no one ever told you that? You're much
Oh my
shorter
God,
than I
no, of course.
expected?
I'm just, it's sort of, I'm spitballing here with just,
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
after school special
She's
takes
Mario
over here.
Contrary instead of saying, "You know what? That was not nice of her."
Yeah, it was not. Well, I'm trying to think like, what is it? I'm always trying to find a way of like, what is a way of feeling better about that thing? And somehow I usually get there, but I haven't worked that one out with this one
Oh,
yet.
I
You know what I
won't I
mean?
won't
Yeah, that
ever
one
feel
is
better about
yeah,
that
it's
thing when
done.
someone comes to me as if okay, I'll give you an example. Jason Sherwood, friend of the pod. When we first
Mm,
started
Love.
talking, he was like,
he
"I
sounds tall.
love that he's 6'5". I love your height. Your height is perfect. I just want to like pick you up and blah blah blah." Like I could be like, "You want to pick me up? Oh, you think you can pick me up?" But there was there was love behind it. It
Yeah, of
was like you are
course.
the
Yeah.
and I will say people that are 5'8" and under are not used to hearing that. Like we're used to hearing like, "Oh,
Correct.
we grew up hearing like you're a shrimp or blah 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 blah." Like,
Shrimp.
Shrimp. Shrimp. But back quickly to telling people that they, how commenting on the way they look when you see them. I think that there's a big reaction online and in the world about trying to not do that.
Mhm.
But I may call me old fashioned, but I feel like I still like to do that. I am not commenting on people's weight anymore
Mm,
unless I know that they want me to comment on it, and I
mhm.
can tell. You know, I know when someone wants me to say that they look skinny. I know when that is. So I'm using my high emotional IQ
Right.
to determine when that is. I know when not to, but I know when to, right? If she's been injecting once a week for a little while, I could tell her, you know what I mean? If it's a weight loss, obviously there's some instances in which it's probably still okay.
Injecting
But
once a
overall,
weekend
I'm not
is
saying that.
Ozempic, yeah?
Ozempic
Okay,
will go via
'cause
that whole class of
The
medications.
injectables.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, that's another story.
Yeah.
No,
Private conversation. But no, actually, yeah, no.
But one thing that I've just started to do is I'll just say, for example, I'll say, you look terrific. You look terrific.
Yeah.
If I like the
Could mean
outfit,
anything.
the outfit, hair, whatever it is, just you look terrific. If you look terrific.
Also,
I'm not
the word
throwing that out there.
terrific is not used as much as it should, I think.
Terrific is a great
Terrific.
word. Mm-hmm.
Do you guys have a favorite word?
Mm-hmm.
In general?
Yes. Like if you, what's a favorite word of yours that you love to say?
Fuck.
Great.
Oh, I love fuck. I love fuck. That's a great word. What is my favorite word? What is something that I love? I have so many. I love nauseated. I love nauseated and nauseous. I love nauseated. I love well and unwell. Love those words. I love superficial. I love superficial.
Ooh, I like that.
Superficial. I love
like
superficial. And those are the kind of ones that come to my mind that I love.
What about you, Ian?
One of my favorites is idiot. I love idiot. I love a glottal.
He's an idiot.
And then idiot. It's fucking idiot. And then another one is chrysanthemum.
Oh,
I love that word. Isn't that a nice word?
Yeah, it is nice.
Mm-hmm.
This
Yes.
This is so NPR of us.
It's
Isn't that
yeah.
beautiful? That's gorgeous. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's really
really is.
shorty balls. Shorty balls. Speaking of things that are beautiful, go Juan. Yes.
Well, I was just gonna say, good morning, hello everyone. We haven't even said hello.
Oh yeah.
to the
Oh my god.
people.
They're here.
We rarely say hello anymore, and I think it's important now that you've been in our house. You've been standing in our foyer for at least 10 minutes. Hello. How are you all
Hi.
doing?
I know. How is everyone doing? How was everyone's weekend?
Great.
Oh yeah.
Good.
No way.
It was good. You know, I was in Chicago.
The musical,
right.
or
I was in Chicago. Yes, I would love to be in Chicago
For the weekend.
If they put me in for a weekend, they'd have to carry me out, my cold dead body. I'd never want to leave. I would never leave the theater. Oh my god. Oh, sweetheart. Patty, Andrew Chappelle's dog is here, and she really wants to come up. She's literally climbing.
Oh my god.
She wants to say something. She's got something to say.
You got something to say, mommy?
She's
Soon
bareback.
dogs are gonna
all of her
she's nude.
chains and collars. She's nude. I went to Chicago this weekend to go see. Okay, down you go. To go see one of my dear best friends, Jay Harrison G, with whom I did Kinky Boots in the musical adaptation of Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil.
Oh, I didn't know he was in it.
Oh, yeah, he's starring in it. He's playing Lady Sibilly.
Oh, yes. Wait, I saw the number on Insta and I was like, oh, Jason Robert Brown show. But I thought it was like at the Goodman or something. Anyway, that show.
It's like a big glossy pre-Broadway first, the first time really putting it on its feet before it moves to New York eventually. I don't know if it'll be this season or next. I think it'll probably be next season because they haven't announced anything. But when it does come, it will be like a big splashy Broadway opening. But I have to say,
love that movie.
Yes, I love the book and the movie, and it's fun to get to see a musical. Speaking quickly about musicals, it's fun to see how a show lifts a book or a movie and puts it on stage. There's just so many ways to do it. So like, in the book and in the movie, I'll speak to John Cusack is like the author who's coming to write the story of Savannah. In the musical adaptation, the audience is the narrator. We are the author.
Okay.
So the entire show, because like, in the movie especially, them trying to impress the author or tell him how they would like him to interpret Savannah is constantly brought up. They're always like, well, you can't act that way in front of the author who's here to write about Savannah. So we are that person. So at every beginning of every scene or whatever, or like, they'll be like, oh, they'll come in and be like, so you're the writer who's come to tell the story of Savannah.
I love that.
And so you are, and that's the whole time. And at first it's like, girl, and then it actually becomes kind of charming because then you're like, wait a minute, I'm the writer.
I'm in the show.
Yes, it really does become quite comforting after a while.
I gotta experience that because it's not really. I'm not understanding how that works throughout the whole show because then I want the writer to speak. Like I want the character to like actually speak, and obviously the audience doesn't say anything.
No, yeah, the premise is that like all we know is what these people are trying to tell us about the city of Savannah. Right? We of course see it from other people. So we see what A said about B and what B said about A when the other person is not on stage. So we have a more complete picture than they think they're giving us. Do you know, it's about...
Yes, I see what you mean. Got it. Okay.
It's, because essentially Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil is a story of all the characters that make this make Savannah.
I see. So, sorry, I follow. I just understood kind of the
conceit.
Technique, the thing of that every time new characters pop up, a new scene, maybe they weren't in that last scene, they don't know. Everyone's having to be constantly being reminded on stage, and they're using John Cusack, aka the audience, for those. I see what you're saying as like
exactly.
So that's how they're breaking fourth wall, and okay,
exactly. They're embracing that, and it's an interesting concept. And it's one of those things where it's direct address to the audience can feel so superficial. It can feel so cheap, and it actually was very inviting because if you commit to it over a long time, like in Light in the Piazza, there's this terrible moment. I think Light in the Piazza is a perfect musical, but there's a scene in which like the Italian family sings a song all in Italian, and the mother from the Italian family breaks the fourth wall, and she's like, I don't speak English, but I have to tell you what's going on. And I want to stab everyone in the audience, everyone on stage. I think it is the most cheap, such a weird moment in a musical. And it works only because you need it to work. But I've always I don't love direct address often, but in this case, it really actually kind of works. So it was really fun. And Jay is spectacular in the role of Lady Chablis. So Lady Chablis was a famous trans performer in Savannah who ended up playing her role in the film adaptation. She played herself.
Wow. That's amazing.
And they kind of play with that in the musical without, so like Jay plays with the fact that Lady Chablis kind of acknowledges that someone else is now playing the role. It's really meta and interesting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But anyway, it was very, very fun. And it was always, being in Chicago reminds me of what I like. It's one of those things where you get to go to another gay destination that is so different from New York because it's like a big city with small town vibes.
You love Chicago. I
do. I love going out in Chicago and going out to the bars there. And
what's the one with all the music? Sorry, not music. The TVs. Create alt TVs. Yes, sidetracks.
Sidetracks. Yeah, it's so fun.
I've never been to Chicago.
And the bars are
what?
Fabulous.
Ever? Oh my god!
I know.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about Chicago at all on this podcast, but Chicago's a great town because it's
definitely
gigantic.
A seat at the table. Definitely a seat at the table at dinner.
Oh God, yes,
for sure.
Chicago can definitely sit at the table. I don't know. Yes, if it's like it. I don't know if it wants to sit with just LA and New York. Like if it's just the three of us, that would be a hard dinner. But as long as there's a buffer,
maybe we have Seattle
New York,
at the
LA,
table.
Chicago.
Can I say something controversial? Maybe.
Say.
Always.
I've been outside of LA for like a month, and I did some traveling last year to Austin or whatever. And I was thinking recently while I was pumping gas, that saying, it's like, in this place, you can get a 5-bedroom house for and then it's like a New Yorker stitching or an LA person stitching. And they're like, but then you have to fucking live there. And I remember being like, period. But longer I'm outside of LA and New York, the more I realize that it's such bullshit. Like, yes, New York and LA are special, but bitch, they are not the only thing that is special. Like, the idea that joy is only going to come out of being in a place where there's so much going on, it's funny because like you remove yourself a little bit and then you realize like, oh, I'm actually having such a nice week. Like, and I'm not in
Mhm.
LA or New York, and I'm doing the things I would do over there, but I'm
Yeah,
driving.
it's not dependent on New York or LA.
Correct. And I feel like
Mhm.
there's such a like emphasis on like, if I don't, New York or nowhere, here I can't possibly. And it's like,
Mhm.
yes, you fucking can. Like, grow up. Like,
Yeah.
find something outside of a city that makes up your personality. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Mm,
there's a lot of people that
mhm.
that are not from New York, right? There's a lot of people that like move there and it becomes their entire like, well, because in Brooklyn, I mean, da, 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 da. And like I've totally taken on that personality before. And it's like not until I've been outside of it that I'm like, yeah, I could see why people enjoy like living here. And like, I mean, I'm in Florida, so it's not like I'm in the sticks or anything, but it is slower. It is, but I was like out and I saw like a bunch of old people dancing last night, and I'm like, look at them. They don't need to be in New York. They're having a great time. Like, I don't know. It was just
Oh yeah,
something I
yeah.
thought about.
Totally.
Yeah,
No,
we've
it's
talked about this before on the podcast for our OGs who've been around. Um, I think I'm very appreciative of the time I spent touring in my 20s when I was still performing, because I got to see, and I like discovering and being in new places. America is a gorgeous, big, great country. There's so many wonderful places to be,
Yep.
and that is just that's a fact. Period. And you don't need to live in, you know, New York and LA to really be a happy. But I just think, but all that to say, there is something to it. There is a difference between, I don't want to disparage any really small town or something, but there's a difference between Lubbock, Texas, and Austin, for example.
Correct. But it's like, it's almost as if like when that person made that video, it's like, yeah, but then you have to live there. As if the person that's living there doesn't enjoy living there, that they're just living there because they're forced to do so because they can't live in New York or LA. It's like, no, some people
But
don't want to
but that is the
fucking
case
live in New York
sometimes.
or LA. It's not
Yeah,
that
but
much of
some
that
don't.
girl for y'all, like for a lot of people,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. But there are things, especially for queer people, like
Yeah.
it's like.
But that's also
But
the
then, but
thing
then
that,
it's almost seems mean spirited. Then it's
yeah.
also just mean then, because then they can't live there. So why are you making fun of them for not being able to be lived here
Well, because
over
right.
there?
I think it's in response to someone be like, "Look at what you can get in Minnesota,"
Oh yes,
and like,
exactly. Yeah.
and because people in New York and LA know how fucking expensive it is to live in those cities of great status, they're like, "Yeah, but then you have to." It's almost like they're like, "Yeah, but then you have to live in fucking Lubbock, Texas," and it's like, I don't know. There is something to be said about a nice kitchen with an island, darling. I don't know,
Oh my god, of course. Absolutely.
but
Yes.
all I'm
But
trying all I'm
but
trying to
there's
say
also
is don't
some things.
yuck other
Yeah.
people's yums.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Hear,
Yeah. Yeah.
hear.
Yeah. True. 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 I get it. But there's
But we're
some
gonna do
even.
it.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah. We're gonna
human.
do it
We're
anyway.
human.
Yes, ma'am.
Sometimes it's
Yes,
worth
ma'am.
it.
And that's why
Sometimes
we're
it's
here
worth
at
it.
Tres Leches.
Exactly.
Wait. Okay. So to change topics quickly,
Yeah.
how did you guys feel about the beginning? Are you guys Olympic girlies?
I'm watching them right now.
Yeah. She's like,
Oh
I'm
my
not
gosh.
actually present. I'm over here.
No, I'm here, but I just thought I was feeling like, how do I make the apartment a little bit more alive? Like, yeah, I have plants and things, but like it feels like I should at least have Olympics on. I was feeling not so Olympic girly since they started because I did not watch the ceremony live, and some of the things I saw, I was like, speaking of cheap, that was a word I used for some of the numbers I
Some
saw.
of the numbers.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, for all those, we're talking about, of course, the Paris Olympics,
Mm.
which got off to a rousing start on
Les
last
Olympiques.
absolutely.
week.
Les
What
Olympiques.
yes.
Oh my
What did you
God!
what did you
Speaking
think?
up, what?
What did you think was cheap?
I thought Lady Gaga's performance was crazy and like not good, and I thought like she looked crazy, like sometimes she always does. Um, and
I liked
it
it. It's
just
who she is.
I know, but it just was like the pink and the black it just wasn't reading well. And I thought, like, I thought because of where they are angle wise, the camera's not actually on stage. They're far, like, it's a weird stage, and
Yeah.
they're like, I'm like, it was pretty ambitious. But I just didn't like it. I was like watching, and I thought it looked cheap to me,
Mm.
and the costumes and like the everything just wasn't. Something about it was feeling like it just looked crazy to me. Choreography, blah blah blah. And then I was told about a can, which I was like, no, I'm not watching in real time. Like, was it good? And then he was like, no, you could tell it's either they just hired those people like that day, and they were
Oh.
like, we should do a can. And then I saw clips of it on TikTok, and I was like, I see. A lot of pink.
It felt so Parisian to me. I don't know.
Aw.
I kind of liked it. It
I
just
like
felt
that
like
they did
kind of dumb and funny and
the thing on the Seine, where all the teams were on different boats and they were traveling down the
yes.
Seine as like I thought it was I mean I didn't see the performances, I only saw Celine's. But I
Ugh.
did love, like, I don't know, I
So
just
good.
love the use of the city. I love watching a couple of the events and seeing like the Eiffel Tower in the background. It's just like really utilizing. And then all I kept thinking is like when they do it in LA, what the fuck are they gonna do? Like
I know.
rent out Runyon to do
Well, they're not.
gymnastics? Like
I know. Well, they're not gonna do. They're not gonna do something like going down the Seine with every freaking athlete in the world. I can tell you, they're
going
not
down
gonna
the
be able to do that.
405.
Oh
Yeah,
my
exactly.
god.
Yeah, yes. Not, and not to get a little bit newsy, but if you're interested at all in the security aspects of the Parisian Olympics, because Paris is of course in Europe, in the part of the European Union, and they have
Yeah.
very interesting laws about, the Europeans are a little bit different. They have a more
Laissez-faire.
I don't know. No, they're
No.
actually much stricter when it comes
Complete
to like
opposite.
surveillance.
Oh,
Their laws around surveillance are more restrictive than they are in the United States in some instances.
right.
And so there's a wonderful podcast called What Next? It's by Slate. And they have a whole episode about the amount of surveillance, video and AI surveillance that's happening all over the city, kind of, very like sci-fi, using all the cameras around to kind of that are already there to surveil and follow and find patterns, behavioral patterns of people walking in and out and through
Spooky.
Paris to identify threats. I listened to it last night, and it was really, really interesting because France actually changed laws, changed laws in order to enact this level of surveillance for safety. But
Wow.
yeah, it's wild. It's wild. But you mentioned Celine, which was beautiful. It was a touching moment.
Incredible. Tears. Thank you for sending that when you did. I was just she's everything. And then
Yeah.
did you guys see Kelly Clarkson's like response? Like, she was talking about it a little after, and she was verklempt, and she was so kind of emotional, being like, just that all the year she's been through. And there's like a great little sound bite. She said she's like, I
I'll
forget
find
exactly.
it. It's
Yeah.
vocal athlete. I'll find it.
mean,
Yeah.
Just that I have it.
she is the Olympic athlete of vocals. Like, so
Yeah.
to
Of
see her
our
come
of
back,
our
it's almost like, watching Simone Biles get back on the vaults, like,
yeah.
after falling and, taking a fall from
Simone.
grace.
So good.
Side note,
It's been
Let me
really
just
Clarkson is
find it
just,
so we have it.
she is just America's sweetheart. I love her so much.
But she is the vocal athlete of our time, and it's
Yeah.
very exciting to have had that moment back. I will say, not to be cynical and to make this about like the rollout, but the Celine Dion rollout.
Yeah.
Documentary. I'm feeling a little better. I'm not so stiff anymore. Here, little appearance here, little appearance there. Back to this, announcing the rumored return to Las Vegas.
It's well done.
The team paid attention.
The team was teaming.
Yeah, I'm not saying that she wasn't sick. I'm
But
just
that's
saying
the thing. That's the athletics of it. It's like when Simone Biles went through her thing in Tokyo. I mean, it's not the same as having a neurological disorder. Obviously, that's not what I'm equating it to. But I am saying,
Sure.
like, as an athlete, you fall and like something happens, and you're like, but I will get back in the ring. Like, I will show that I'm going to work and I'm going to rest. And Celine's all about her rest. If that is one bitch that respects her voice, or if there is one bitch who respects their voice, it is Celine Dion. That gift, she takes care of it,
Yeah. People fall, like you said, and they get back and they put themselves back in the race. So eventually, Johnny, you will move back to a New York or an LA, and it will be a whole different thing. And you're just taking a respite right now in Florida and like taking, a second away from the place that you thought you needed to be. But it's just so that you can get back to the place that you need to be.
Well, no,
You're
I
making
mean, I
a,
haven't
Or
moved.
never.
I haven't moved
or
yet.
never.
I
I know.
just
I'm
am
kidding.
exploring options outside. And I don't know if I would. And here's also the thing, like equating it back to this. If Celine never had performed ever again, that would be okay with me, because there was so much that she
Uh,
gave, and I felt like she
Agreed.
had nothing else to prove. And I feel like sometimes, and that's the thing with athletes too, it's like sometimes, like for me, Simone Biles, like she wanted to come back and she wanted to do her thing, but like, good for her. And I'm neither one of those two people, but sometimes it's just like, I'm okay not being exactly
Mm.
what I thought I was gonna be, or being exactly what I was, or blah 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 blah. Like, I think it's good to pivot sometimes, and like um,
Of course.
let things be something else. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like my mom always says, life is not about, or the most important thing about life is knowing that when you get knocked out in the ring, that you've got another round.
mm,
You've always got another round,
Mm-hmm.
and that's difficult. I that's a difficult thing, but it's as you get older, you're those injuries when you get knocked out, they hurt a little bit more than they did when you're younger. But it's true,
right, right.
And
Yeah.
it was thrilling, and I also feel like the Celine Dion performance. Now we can move on. I was just saying, what I loved about it is it felt her age.
Mm.
It
Mhm.
felt like a woman. She was performing at her age. She was performing with everything that she's experienced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She wasn't
Yeah.
just doing like a new, it wasn't like Celine Dion, A New Day, Las Vegas. Let me get back to what I was. It was
Right.
informed by this,
The context
as was the key in which she sang it. Exactly. She was in the context
of her.
horror. Exactly. She was very
Exactly.
much burdened and yet unburdened. She did not, as Andrew Chappelle is saying here, she did not fall out of a coconut tree.
Mhm.
Just now.
Right.
She fell out of she took every coconut tree she's ever fallen out of. It wasn't just this one. No, she was very much in the context of her life, and it was reflected in her voice. She didn't sound like a 25-year-old. She sounded like a woman who's been through something, and
Yeah.
that's kind of nice.
What are you laughing about, Ian?
I was just watching Johnny the whole time, and that was just like really, really entertaining, because I also thought maybe like you were looking at me and like I was looking at you, and I was
No,
like
I was
looking at you, and I was having a moment, and then I was like, oh, okay, so it's very Nancy, oh, that's not Nancy, she's not paying attention. But then I just watched you and I thought, what is he thinking? And then I
was thinking like, I mean, that is what I expect, like, from a woman of her age. Like, that's what I want. I want my artist to grow and be able to like be that, rather than be what they once were. Like, this, I don't want to call out other artists, but there are some other artists that are really just attached to their prime, and it's like, no, just be like, I love when fucking Beyonce was like, I'm 40 years old and I don't give a fuck. I was like, and it shows, baby. You are extremely bright and beautiful and lovely, and like, I don't know. I agree. I love.
Mm-hmm. I love how gays love the Olympics. All of us, it's kind of nice, how much.
It's not what you say, it's how you say it. So what was that?
No, that gays love the Olympics. It's kind of cute and sweet. I always think it's funny and cute when gay men like sports. All of us, I think it's kind of fun. They like sports nowadays more.
Yeah.
They like it. I think they like the performance of it all,
Oh
but
yeah, when I'm watching gymnastics and the girls are doing their floor routine, and Philip, it's
yeah,
funny, Philip,
it's
because
stunning.
Philip was a gymnast. I mean, well, is a gymnast. You're always something, but
Mm.
so he knows like all of when they're in the air, he's like, oof. I'm like, what happened? He's like, just the way that her feet are, I know the way that she's gonna land is not gonna be the way that she needs to land. And I'm like,
Yeah.
work. I love people that know what they're talking about, but I also
Yeah.
don't know what I'm talking about. I'm like, that was not good. He's like, what do you mean that was not good? I'm like, I didn't feel anything. Like I can, you don't have to be great at
Mm.
something to know if it was good or not.
Mm.
Like when they're doing these floor routines and they're hitting the marks, like the dancing, the like spruce goose of it all, and it's not spruce and it's not goose. It's just here we are, and like
Mhm.
it's just. I'm like, no, no, no.
I've had to let go of that. I'm not gonna lie. I've had to unburden
Yeah.
myself with that sort
But
of
it's just a
expectation
style.
while
It's just a
watching.
style preference. Like I
Yeah.
like, because like let's say someone like Simone Biles is a powerhouse. Like that is a powerful gymnast. And then there's some people that are a little more graceful. So like I like
Mhm.
my gymnast to be stick it. I like a hard,
Yeah.
um
I forget what her
Mhm.
name is, but Miss Giles, she's also on the
Jordan.
Giles.
You
team.
mean Jordan? Not
Oh.
hold on, Jordan.
It's the other,
She's black, right?
oh, it's Childs, excuse
Jordan
me,
Childs. Yeah,
Childs.
exactly.
Jordan Childs, I mean, I guess she did a couple routines, but, like, one of them where she did, her song was a mashup of, like,
Beyonce.
Beyonce
Yeah.
songs, and I was like I was very, very happy to see someone who was, like, feeling it,
Yeah.
like, I was like, "There's, like, some sass in her,"
Yeah.
and she was great,
She was
everything else
yeah, the
was
marks were being hit, but she was also giving you there was story being told because she was using
yeah.
actual Beyonce moves, like when Beyonce does the thing where she does the little, like, money
Mhm.
thing, she
Oh,
did that
yeah,
at
yeah,
the
yeah,
end as
yeah,
her,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
finishing move. Like, I just love something that is going to make you stand out. It's like a different level of gymnastics for me, you know?
Yeah. Because I don't think they get many more points for that.
No, I don't think
It's
so.
that's I don't think
No,
that
but you know what
I
what it
I
does? It makes you a household fucking name. It gets you,
correct,
you know,
correct.
the deals,
So
Style.
do
like
so does so do gold medals,
Yeah.
oh,
though.
of course, of course,
Gold
of course.
medals make you a household name
Of
more than
course,
any of
yeah,
it,
no,
but
Yeah.
but
yeah,
if you
True.
pair the 2, if you pair the 2,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
it's
It's also
exactly.
all of it kind of we can simplify it too is I saw a little bit of her personality. I sort of go,
yeah,
"Oh, like I you feel like you know this person and not just for the powerhouse moves she can do." That's why sometimes I get a little upset with people who were like, "Ugh, I hate Djokovic." I'm talking to my mom. Mom, I'm talking to you. Because she's just like, no me gusta. And I'm like, "But mom, he's one of the best players. He is one of the greatest players of all time." And I
But
know
he's
we're
an
all supposed to
asshole.
mm,
I'm gonna push back on that.
oh,
He's an asshole because he played.
Ooh, what just happened?
Oh, oh
Sorry, I
God,
had to get you off screen with your
yeah,
pushback. Come back.
yeah.
That
I
wasn't
he's
me.
an
actually,
asshole.
sorry. Why is he an asshole?
Oh,
Djokovic?
Yeah, why
He
is he an asshole?
he has exhibited poor sportsmanship
Sorry, hold on. My
multiple
producer.
times throughout his
Sorry.
career.
Wait, what? Let them say it. Okay, let them say it. Okay. What? Why is he an asshole? Sorry.
He has exhibited poor sportsmanship throughout the years. In addition to his obtuseness when it comes to uh, when it came to COVID and the vaccine requirements, etc., he has tried to work outside of the rules and regulations of the sports in which he plays. You can be an anti-vaxxer, you can not get vaccinated, you can do whatever the hell you want. Tennis is not a public institution. It's these games, the Wimbledon, the Australian Open, these are private clubs.
mm,
You want to play by the rules of the club or you don't play in the club.
ooh,
Punto.
punto.
That's my opinion. And you have to
Great.
respect the rules of the government of which you're traveling to. You don't want to follow the rules of Australia, then don't go to Australia.
And don't play tennis.
That's fine. Then don't play there.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's it. I mean, and that's just one example. He's not, he has, the way he talks about other players, the way he's talked about other female players, I don't, for what? Because he's got a great serve? Okay,
So
great.
right. So this begs
Good
the
for him.
question: do you think that um, talent and success um, allow for
Trump.
bad behavior?
Damn it, I can't use that word anymore. Um, uh,
Do you think
no, of course not.
Aretha
But
Franklin, as awarded and as wonderful as she was, is allowed a little bit more rudeness?
I do a little. Well, see, here's the thing. Aretha's an interesting example because her rudeness is not at the expense of other people.
mm,
Oh,
mm.
how so? If you're on the receiving end of the rudeness, wouldn't that be
Okay,
at your
let's talk about Faye Dunaway.
You
Okay?
literally boop, plopped out of my head.
That's an abusive woman. Period. On God, I don't care. Oh, Sharon Stone can say whatever the fuck she wants and be like, no greater actress disappears into the roles and this and that. I don't care. I don't care.
Right.
She has assaulted humans. I don't care how much she disappeared. Whatever.
Right.
The roles, the actors, of this and of that. Who cares?
I hear this.
That is
I hear
bad
this.
behavior toward other people. It's not like Aretha Franklin is rude in that sometimes she's not feeling it. She's not like necessarily warm. She doesn't like it. She asks you a question. She's not putting on a pantomime. It's just like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I don't mind that as much.
Right.
She's not like, you fat bitch. I can only be the only fat bitch in this house.
Right.
That's the difference.
Okay.
Right.
You know what I
Yes. No, I do know what you mean. And thank you for that reminder, because now I understand my mom a little better right now. But I also watched this last match with him and Nadal, and it was, I have like that 25-50% of like, oh God, like, yes, he exists in all the context that's happened before him and all of that,
Mhm.
and like everything you've just cited. But he played an amazing game. They both did. And when he scored points, he was getting booed. And I just like felt bad for him.
Oh,
Is what
that's
I'm
sweet.
is right now in this moment. I was just like, that I know is not fun. And I'm not saying an excuse, I'm not saying everything that you've just cited that he did is like,
Inexcusable. Right.
an excusable thing. But I just, in the context of that game,
He was giving.
It was he was, and it was a sort of fascinating thing to watch because he was playing. They both were Nadal fucking hit some points that you literally like, how the fuck did he do that? But Djokovic also, like, he won the fucking game anyway. So
Right, and that's wonderful.
It was.
That don't make him.
That,
he's a good asshole.
And yet he was made fun of, and yet he rose. I mean, what am I supposed to say to that, Ian? It's like he's an asshole.
And still
in English, in Spanish, in Portuguese, in French, in Creole, in Japanese, in Mandarin, in English, and in Spanish. He's an asshole. That's it.
Well, and that's that on that.
Wow. That's the most heated that Juan's ever been towards me about, like, what am I supposed to say about that, Ian? Like, said it like we were a couple. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, well, you always do that. Well, I don't always do anything. Sometimes
I can't be the only one that.
No, okay, great. I loved it.
But I will say, okay, I'll soften my point slightly.
No, please.
I'll soften my point in this sense. I'm harder on him because he is a white male.
Oh, Djokovic.
Djokovic. If he was a white female who had bad behavior, I'd maybe soften it slightly. But this is an equal opportunity household.
Well, I don't see. That's where I do not agree. I don't care if you're black, Asian, white. If you're an asshole, you're an asshole.
That's what I'm saying.
So
that's what I'm saying.
But you're saying you're maybe more like you wouldn't accept it.
I think he's softening it for my benefit. You don't have to do that. I agree.
No. The point is that what I'm saying is that I will a redemption arc.
Yeah.
I will take it. Like if for example, if I don't know, another female tennis player had really bad behavior, or whatever, and I'm admitting a bias here.
Yeah.
That if she were to go on a big tour and be like, listen, I'm sorry I did this, and that, I'd be a little bit more receptive to it.
Yeah.
I would be than I am with Djokovic.
Yeah. No, and I see why, because it's like, there's like, bitch, you have everything at your fingertips and you're still going to be a cunt. Like, yeah, I can see that.
He needs you on his media team.
Mhm. And you know what? He goes after ball boys.
Oh,
He goes after like the lowest people on the court.
I know.
He's like screams at children like who are volunteering. It's like, what is your problem? You know, if you threw a racket at the referee, I'd be like, okay, fine.
Right.
If you threw a racket at the other player,
But not at the
but like,
helper.
oh, that little
Who's
the like
looking up to you,
neurodivergent
literally?
people along the sides. No, girls, do me a favor. They're just giving you the ball.
Yeah.
They threw it too
Yeah.
fast, too slow.
Oh, that's funny.
I just finished Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders yesterday. I watched it. I got home from a day I went on a hike, and it was like 2 or 3. I was like, wow, there's actually a lot of episodes left. I thought like it was so close to being done. And boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Boy, oh boy.
So good. Boy,
That's
oh
what I love
boy.
about the show is that once you think they're cast, you think, okay.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Once,
I thought,
once
okay, well,
auditions are done, like, okay, party's over.
yeah. I was like, we can go to. I could go to bed now. And
I think
but
that was
then
even a directing choice. Like, right when you think, oh yes, they made it, and it's like, no, it's the story's actually just starting, kind of vibe.
Yes.
Like, yeah, I love that.
So much happened before Dorothy dropped it.
exactly. Yeah, and I got a little. It was so well made. I just had a moment too. I was like, I walked up and I said, maybe I do like reality TV. But I really like that because
That's
there's
different.
dance
Yeah.
involved, and yeah, this is different.
That's a
Exactly.
documentary.
Oh, and it's
Exactly,
oh my god, it was so
exactly.
beautifully done. Like the cinematography, like it's just
All
great.
of it.
I will say, I don't know
yeah.
if spoiler alert, but 2 girls made the squad this year that were not given a chance last year.
Meaning that was taped.
Taped. Like 2 of the girls that were let go in the documentary made the squad this year.
Oh my
July.
god. Redhead?
Yes, Carly.
Yeah, Charlie,
Charlie,
Charlie.
and Kelly from New Jersey. From Weehawken.
Oh, I love Kelly's
From
story.
New Jersey.
Yeah.
That story made me okay. I was watching it with a friend, and I literally was like, I was so touched by the parents and the way they
What
were.
they
I was so
sacrificed.
yeah, but just even I'm talking about recording when that mom was talking to camera. Like at one point, I was like, oh my god, she is being so vulnerable right now. She's being so honest about this time and place, and you could tell like it literally makes me. It really chokes me up because I really felt like there was a genuine sincerity in the way that she was speaking about her life and the way that she and her husband came to this decision and the way they were sharing about something that maybe you wouldn't normally hear. I just thought it was very, very touching, and that you didn't see. It wasn't like, like, and Kelly just seems like such a nice girl, like such a good girl, and she's so talented. I was so happy she was talented. I was like, don't give me this story and then her be bad. But she was really good, and and that mom, and just when they were looking at the pictures and that she didn't end up making. Sorry to these spoilers, people. But yeah, thank you for bringing that up because it really
it made me happy to see on Instagram.
Oh, I didn't see that. That's really great.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for her.
That touches me. I love that a lot.
I wonder, well, because it did seem like the we talked about this a little bit last week, I believe, that a little bit of the innuendo / out-uendo of like she's a little under-energized today, or like
fuel. Yes, ma'am.
It felt like some of the choices of the cutting were
arbitrary.
No, not arbitrary. I thought that they were maybe not being completely honest with why they were cutting someone. I wanted to say like if the camera cut was like her boobs are too small. Like I just really saw now when we were doing it this time that her boobs are too small in comparison to everyone else.
And yeah,
I thought that maybe it came down to little things like that with some of them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But maybe it actually was their performance, because if these girls are coming back, unless they had some major physical overhaul, very likely. It was probably just a matter of stamina, etc.
Yeah, I mean, listen, yes, it shows what? Go.
No, it shows that it makes the Dallas, the entire kind of the voting, all the people that were kind of giving their 2 cents about who should stay or not, makes it all seem a little bit more above board, in my opinion.
I see. You know, if you recall too, when I forget her name, Miss Jones. I'm just gonna call her Miss Jones, but she's the Jerry Jones's
Charlotte Jones.
Charlotte
Charlotte.
Jones. You know, when she comes in there at the end for the last like 38, you know, they're at 38 and they're having this discussion, and they were under the impression they were going to do 37 again and have this alternate. And then by that point, I'm sitting there going like, Jesus Christ, I can't believe they literally don't have, if we were on Broadway, swings is what you hire these other people to kind of be in the wings until if someone can't go, you know, go on, they fill in, and they don't have that. And so Miss Jones was like, Charlotte was like, I didn't like the 37. I just didn't like it. And her reasons, I bought them. She was like, I don't like the fact that we would give someone and be like, you're on the team, but you're an alternate. And like, I get that. Like, I get what she was going for. And so there was this like tug and pull. Is it tug and pull? Yeah. Is it tug and pull? No.
But it's just totally impractical.
I know, but I got it because I was like, I like that they're staying steadfast on like just this decision. Something about it was just like work. They're being cutthroat.
Mhm.
And I think because I have a problem sometimes like with decision making, I admired how quickly they did make some hard decisions and cuts, and having those moments with the girls come in, you know, and sit down, and then I forget her name, Charlene or something, or whoever's standing there on the side who just always was like,
I love her.
Mhm.
she hugged him and she
Yeah.
walked him out, and I was just like, I want to know about her, like, you know, it just all of it, the camp of it all, but also they really do care of it all is what makes it also very campy.
Yeah,
It
Charlotte was like,
entertained me.
we can't afford another $20 a week for that
Yeah,
other
for
girl.
real.
Well, and
I
that's
found this
another
to be
thing.
ridiculous.
That was
Yeah.
another thing is I was like, wait, they're underpaid, or like, you know, the whole idea that like they should be getting more money. But then I checked on Google, and the results were that they make $75,000 a year, and it's only for the season. So like technically they're only dancing when the season's going. Obviously, I'm sure they have other you
What
know,
wh-
what?
what Google link is that?
I don't know. It was
No,
on
baby,
my
they don't make
phone.
$75,000 a year. They make what they made in the doc. They don't make more than they said in the Netflix documentary.
Well, that's
They
yeah,
make
I
about minimum
did
wage,
think it was.
which I think with minimum wage you can make like $50,000 to $60,000 a year.
Yeah, I think it was the result that was like AI generated response, and I got that thing, you know, on my phone.
Got it.
And
Yeah, I mean,
I thought, oh well, that's actually not too bad. But
right. Well, I think in
anyway,
comparison to what the Dallas
Because
Cowboys,
they're based. I think they get more money for appearances, etc.
Correct.
versus the games. But
I see.
yeah, they're not
yeah,
paid for
what you
the appearances. They are paid for, but extra. But I think the work that they do, the fact that they go to practice every week after their jobs, like I think the fucking Dallas Cowboys can fork over just a little bit more money in the year 2024
to supplement. Yeah.
these girls, especially because they're fucking putting so much on their bodies just from that fucking
Yeah.
split
And
that split kick line
oh my
situation.
God.
Kick line into the
hearing
split. Hearing that
it made me sorry to cut you. It made me really love being a dancer, and also reminded me of some of this shit that I've gone through, that you go through as a dancer because you love it, because it's just like you just have to do it. And it made me kind of also be like, now wait a minute, y'all just rehearsed them for however long until like a week before that game, that first game, and you didn't have to pay them. So like, yes, you're still auditioning them and it's training, but you're getting rehearsal for free. You're getting free dancers, and then the girls who you end up with have already learned the dances. So you've kind of like, do you know what I mean? That was also something I was clocking. I was just like,
yeah,
clock that T.
Okay.
Clock it.
Yeah, but it was strange. But I will say, like, the not having the alternate seems ridiculous to me, because, like,
I know.
what happens if one of them gets into a car accident and dies on Tuesday? The next week you're only gonna have 35. Charlotte, I paid for 36 dancers, Mama. You told me it was gonna be 36 no matter what. So I don't care what happened to Missy.
Not Missy.
Yeah. Where's Carly Ann?
Oh my
Yeah.
God. Mary
Yeah.
Sue.
Oh my
Gotta have an
God.
alternate. It just seems so ridiculous, because, like, why? Who cares? Who cares? If the girl's okay with being an alternate.
Right. This
As
is
if,
true.
as if they haven't been subjected to enough.
Correct.
Your
I
belly
know.
button is too tall. Your knees are too long. As if that's any worse than you're an alternate. Yeah, you're an alternate. You're the understudy.
Yeah.
You are there to save the day in case if Missy gets into a car accident
Missy, I can't
and
with
breaks
the
both
name.
her legs.
Oh, should we go on a break?
We should. Let's go on a quick break.
Yes.
Okay, we'll be right back.
Okay.
Oh, hello everybody, and we're back. How's everyone's
Rico.
break?
It was wonderful. Oh, I didn't give everyone a little song there while you all went away. Thanks for keeping that in on last episode. I appreciate it.
I didn't know what you were talking about because clearly I went to the bathroom when that was happening. So I didn't know that you did that. So when I was listening to the podcast and I was like, what's happening right now? Like, is he singing a song? And I was like, oh, he's singing a song. Oh, this is because we're not in the room. And like, I had the realization as if though I was like listening as well.
Yes.
That was
Yes. I was performing like there was no one there, you know? I was just doing it anyway.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you
Just
should.
for
You
you.
always should. Do it
Exactly.
anyway.
Building it before they come.
I love it. As opposed to Barbara Streisand, who's like, sing in the house alone for what? To myself.
Oh,
I love that about her.
Oh,
I love how much delight Barbara Streisand takes in like debunking people's vision of her joy around singing.
right.
Yeah.
She gets off on it
Yeah.
because I think she likes singing more than she would like to admit.
I think it's for sure a thing she plays on a little bit, for sure.
Exactly. I think she loves that. I think because she's just a sort of a sadist in a weird way.
Yeah.
She likes to inflict pain a little bit on our little hearts with it.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're back and it's time for a little spilled milk.
Mm.
You know, Spilled Milk is our fabulous segment where we answer questions. You can share something messy that you did or wish you had done, or something that someone did to you. But our first Spilled Milk is actually something that came up that I wanted to talk about before. But Sarah Paulson, you know, the fabulous actress of Tony Award
winning, exactly.
Best Actress, Sarah Paulson. She says that living separately is the key to her relationship with Holland Taylor. For those who don't know, Sarah Paulson has been with Holland Taylor for a while now. You know, this is one of Hollywood's couples.
What, 10 years, I think? Something like that?
You think
more?
I think it's for nearly a decade. Yeah.
Yeah.
Since 2015. And 81 and 49 years old.
Our episodes are so much of Ian asking a question and then Juan Googling it, and I'm just sitting here like, just
Well, it matters, you know.
No, but it's funny. It's because like the producer and Juan's like, we have to get the actual answer rather than like, yeah, I think so.
To.
Like,
oh no, I have to know. I have to know. I have to be precise. We could get sued.
Yeah.
49. So she's 49. Sarah Paulson is 49.
Yeah.
2024, and Holland Taylor's 81. But I don't think really age has anything to do. I mean, it does perhaps, but you know, because everything exists in the context of all that came before. But this is something that came up with early on with my ex. We had a huge blowout argument one time. This is at the beginning. I'm talking like the first 6 months of dating. We went out, we got a little drunk, and I made a comment that I thought was so superficial, word of the day, dumb. I mean, it was just like the stupidest comment ever. Yeah. I said, we were talking about like our dream house. And I said, well, in my dream house, I have to have my own bedroom. Like my dream house, I want a bedroom. And my vision for it is this. I want it to feel like what we now call primary bedroom, like the most feminine primary bedroom of the 1990s, like overstuffed pink with like a bordered wallpaper. I want it to feel like a mom's dream bedroom in 1994. And I just want to sit in it with like 2 standard poodles in the bed and read the newspaper, but not even read the newspaper. It could be upside down. It doesn't even matter. I just want to have like the New York Times spread over, and I want teas and coffees and crumbs. I just want a place to go and be
Faye Dunaway.
alone. Very, very, very Faye Dunaway.
Very Faye Dunaway.
Exactly. Very Faye Dunaway. Like think Meryl Streep's bedroom in Death Becomes Her when she's like when they bring her
AKA the stepmother in Cinderella, also, by the way.
Mm.
That is the
correct.
kind of where like the curtain could go over and it's kind of like a clamshell or clam, whatever.
Yes. But I've always dreamt of, but in all seriousness, in like a practical way, I've always thought that it would be a really healthy thing, like to have your own space in a
Mm.
house you can call your own, especially when you've been in a relationship for a long time.
Yeah.
And it's a place to kind of go and daydream a bit. And anyway, it brought up a really, really toxic argument about like how we feel about I mean, we had been drinking, but it brought up a lot of things. I mean, I think if you asked my ex Jack now, he would say like, "Oh, it's dumb," and I think that's probably totally appropriate.
Mhm.
But at the time, it became like an existential defining moment of how I see like a happy home and a relationship and how he sees it.
Yeah.
Like the fact that you wouldn't sleep in the same bedroom every night would be a sign of decay.
Mm.
But I grew up with my grandparents slept in different bedrooms my entire life.
Yeah.
Literally from the time I was born, they were already sleeping in different bedrooms. And I think in many ways their relationship was very unhealthy. But what allowed them to stay together was the fact that they had their own spaces. They kind of redefined what their marriage was going to look like if they were going to be able to stay together as they did until their 80s.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you feel about the idea? I mean, and this is, that sparked up that much of an argument, and we were just talking about a bedroom. How do you feel about living separately from your partner in a different, or at least having somewhere else to go?
I need it.
Oh.
I think it's, yeah, like I mean, obviously I haven't bought a house with a partner and all that stuff, but like Chris was the first time I moved in with a partner, and we were living together, and I really loved it, but at the same time I fully understand and have joked about this with a friend of mine for a while, that like having separate bedrooms would be kind of clutch. And not just because it's like, oh, like, yeah, like I want my own space, but something about I noticed a lot how important it was to feel like I could go be with me and kind of create a gap that needed to be bridged later, if that makes any sense. Like that some of that space only would that for some of that space to happen so that you felt like you missed the person, or you were like, oh, I went off and did this thing, and like let me come share a little bit of like what I thought while I had the time and space to be able to do that. You know what I mean? But I also think like until I try it, I don't really know. I'd have to apply it and see how that fares, because I can be so people pleasery that if I was given my own space and like they had their own bedroom, like would I turn into the person that's like, well, what are they doing in their bedroom? Like, okay, like are they missing me? Like, am I missing that? Like, who knows the circles I would go through from having said space
I
in a
see what you
house. And
mean.
if we, do you know what I mean? So I'm
I see what
genuinely
you mean.
curious. Like I just haven't done it, and I applaud anyone who is doing it and is sharing it, because I do think that it's not talked about enough. And we have many, like you're saying, Sarah Paulson and Holland Taylor examples where it works for them. And I think it would behoove us to examine that more closely and feel less judgy about someone's relationship just because it's not the normal way that it's been sort of publicly shown or in the movies,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think everyone's different and every relationship is different. So I think, yeah, I'm trying to think about it at being in my relationship now. I do enjoy my alone time, but when it comes to sleeping, I love, that is the part of being in a relationship that is the most special to me, is that I like, if I have a bad dream, I can wake up and I look over and it's like, oh, there you are. Like, I have even even when I was single, when I had Finn there, like my dog, I was like, I just like bring him a little closer, because it's like, oh, you just feel less alone. And like, I don't know, it's like just a mind thing, really. But
Yeah, that's so sweet, of course.
I do think, I don't know if I want a separate bedroom, but I would love, how like a lot of straight couples, like they have their like man cave in the she shed or whatever. I would
Correct. Yeah.
need my my they them room. Like, you know what I mean? Like I need my meeting of the minds, like my own
Mhm.
my own escape. Yeah, for sure. But I think also why it works for people that are older is because they've worked through a lot of the issues in the idea of why that would be such a big deal to have separate bedrooms. Like, they're older. They're like, if you're with me, you're with me. If you're not, you're not. Like, especially like your grandparents are like, bitch, you're not going anywhere. Like, it's fine if
Do
I'm all the way over here and we'll see each other
yeah.
at breakfast. So I don't know.
You know,
It's hard to say.
hey Google/Juan, are they living separately or are they in a house in separate bedrooms?
No, they're I think they're like living separately. Like they share time at each other's homes, but they actually live separately.
My Google
Oh,
Oh,
actually
your Google
responded.
thank you
answered.
so much. That's so
Did she
sweet, but
answer?
not now, not
But
now.
also,
Thank
if
you.
Well,
the relationship started that way, like if they never really moved in
correct.
together,
In.
yeah,
Mhm.
that's
Yes.
Yeah. It's funny because it's funny that we started because I brought up my anecdote about daydreaming about having my own bedroom, but really Johnny, I feel similarly in that I like the idea of sleeping in the same bed every night at
Mhm.
least. Because I love that. There's a poem by Walt Whitman by Walt. No, not. There's no H after that.
Walt
There's a
Whitman.
poem by Walt
What?
Whitman.
Mhm.
There's a poem by Walt Whitman called "The Sleepers."
Yeah.
It is the most beautiful poem, and my favorite singer, Kurt, definitely my favorite male singer, Kurt Elling.
Mhm.
He's a jazz singer. He has a musical adaptation of that poem, and the poem talks about how wonderful it is that right now, at this moment, there are people, laying next to each other in bed, right? And he says, like, the sisters lay lovingly next to each other, the husband and wife, they're there, the friends, all these people who have to like share spaces, the mother with her child, whomever. There's something precious about that, that
Mhm.
the most quiet time of the day, you would dedicate it next to someone for safety, for warmth, for comfort,
Mhm.
all of
Mhm.
that. It's a beautiful poem and a beautiful song. But I do, when I say my own bedroom, I think more so than the sleeping, it just means, as you're saying, your own space, so
Yeah.
that you feel like there is somewhere to go, to be you, to be
Mhm.
wacky and strange and have
Yeah.
secrets.
Right. Have my
Yes.
closet, with my little built-in couch, with my little espresso machine, and
Yeah.
oh god, how nice would that be? And not that you can't come
It's
in.
to
You
be an
can come
office,
in, but
yeah.
it's just so we're clear,
Sure.
it is my room.
And it's something
Mhm.
yes, it's my room, but there's also something about going and I wanna share this with you also.
Yeah.
I'll have it, but it doesn't mean that because I'm having it, it's not for you.
Right.
It's only for me, and, coming from someone who hated sharing when I was a kid,
Yeah.
if my sister touched a fry, I would go crazy. And then if I got the bag first, I would always make sure I would eat a little bit, and then I would like make sure that the ones that had the most fries, I would obviously take that. I have a problem, but I'm working through all of that
So
now.
you've
But
always
like
been
when
this way.
exactly, exactly. What's mine is mine, and what's yours
It's
is
mine.
ours.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. No, it's
Oh,
ours.
it's
I just
ours.
get to partake in it also.
Correct.
You made that? Okay, I get to have some. I made this. Hold on, I'll have some first. Anyway, but I want to share. There was actually a moment. I don't know if I've ever. You both maybe knew this, but at one point before my relationship with Chris ended, we had decided to move out of our two bedroom and live separately to try and see what that would actually do.
Yeah.
It was still COVID,
Same building.
um, same building, and I hope it's okay that I bring this up because it's been so much time, but we had this idea that
Yes, it's
Yes,
okay.
it's okay. It's your
okay.
life.
Yeah. There's a gag order. Shut the fuck up.
And so,
Let me be quiet.
no, it's okay. It's good to have
Mhm.
people to, you do that
Mhm.
and champion you. No, but we had the idea to do that, and I was really, really excited about it. And I actually think one of the most like the saddest and most disappointing parts about the breakup was that I felt we didn't have this experience that we had both decided we wanted to give each other, which was and that we had agreed on, which was like, let's just see
You've said
what
that
it
before.
would be like to just have some space from each other. And I was so looking forward to it. I got a studio on the 4th floor and he was on the 3rd, and I thought like how cute it would be to be like, okay, like come eat up here and like I'll cook for you. Like I had this imagined future that I thought would be very actually beneficial and healthy and fun. I really thought it could be the surge of energy in some way that to kind of refresh us in what was like a stale moment in our relationship, and we never really got to that. And so, but
That
I
you
was
never got to give it a college try. I love
exactly.
that.
I didn't get my sea legs on that one, you know.
She
And
she
but
drowned.
Yeah,
So.
that's a shame. That's
it
a
is
shame.
because I was really it sounded like something that I really would have appreciated, because I do like having my own space and I like having someone be in my space that I have curated that like I hope you get to enjoy, and like if you stay and sleep here it's like yours too, but like I get to make it nice for both of us always. You know what I mean?
So when you're on a date with someone and you're telling me about them, and I say, "Oh, it sounds like a really nice person, nice guy to maybe have separate bedrooms with," and you say, "No, Johnny, I think that's something you want, so you're putting that on me." We'll just remember on the podcast that Ian said it would be something nice to have.
Mhm.
Yeah, huh? Exactly.
Mhm.
Ugh.
You know, not to go before I move on, I just want to
Yeah.
read you part of this poem because I pulled it up so that I could read it to you.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
Walt Whitman died in 1819, so this must have been written, obviously before that.
Yeah.
Look how kind of modern these lines are. So he says,
Okay.
"The married couple sleep calmly in their bed, he with his palm on the hip of his wife, and she with the palm on the hip of her husband.
Oh.
The sisters sleep lovingly side by side in their bed. The men sleep lovingly side by side in theirs."
Mhm.
It's giving
Homosexual.
visibility, queer visibility.
Yeah. Yeah.
Turn of the
Uh-huh.
century, Gilded Age
Yes,
visibility
exactly.
on that ass. Pre-Gilded Age, actually.
Right.
Very much pre-Gilded Age. Giving post-Civil War.
Right.
Reconstruction, queer visibility.
Work. Oh my god, I'm sweating. I'm sweaty ballsing over
but
here.
here nor there. Okay, so we went through the archive of some of the spilled milk questions and things that you've sent us, and there's one that we kind of overlooked because maybe it's a hard thing to address, but I kind of like it. We like it, and we're going to do it today. So we had a wonderful milker write in, and he said to us, at Mark in 6J, so I guess that's where he lives, or he used to live, he said to us, or they said to us, you never know, what do each one of you know for sure? One thing only. This could become a recurring segment on Tres Leches, so be careful. What is something that you know for sure? To quote the great Oprah Winfrey.
I say this all the time, and as someone who is so certain of all that they know, the one thing that I do know for sure is that I will never know enough. And that's that. I'll never know enough. And I'll always be growing and learning, and till the day I die, I will never know enough.
Love that.
Important reminder. Because you, especially in giving, once you start aging a little bit, you think you know everything.
Exactly.
When you're 18, you think you know everything. And in your 20s, you realize that you don't know everything.
You don't know shit.
And then when you're 30s again, I feel like you start to be like, oh no, I've lived through enough. I know everything.
Right. There's like a freeing aspect of of knowing that you will never know enough. Like,
and yet you still argue like you should know everything you know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is what I know now.
You do.
Until you prove me that I don't know what I'm talking about, you know?
God, I'm just realizing how much I don't know. First thing that came to mind when you said that was one thing I know for sure is nothing is permanent. I am very aware of that. And, that it popped up as the first thing, I think is very telling of just kind of like, that's something that I think we always forget is and I can speak for myself that change in hindsight, speaking about the change as when it happened was good for me, or it was what needed to happen. But in the moment, change is uncomfortable. Change is not my favorite because there's an unknown usually on the other side of it.
Mm-hmm.
And and so in this moment, it's just to remind yourself that nothing is ever permanent, and it's always ever shifting. It's never the same. And yeah, that's something that I think about a lot, actually.
That made me think of this TikTok I saw the other day where the girl said the creator was her name was Julia Messi, and the quote was, "The world won't let you get comfortable where you don't belong,"
Ooh,
which I thought was really
the
powerful.
world won't let you get comfortable.
Because it's like,
where you don't
why are things not permanent? Why is this changing? Why? Because the world won't let you get comfortable where you don't belong, darling. You've got to keep moving.
Yeah. And you could
Mhm.
argue that's actually coming from you. If the world is changing around you, that is because it is in response to something that you are
Mhm.
emitting, that you have been emitting, um,
Right, right.
because you are the
Right.
universe.
You are the universe. Work.
One thing that I know for sure.
He's gonna go funny.
Huh? No, it's not gonna go funny. I have a
No?
superficial one. I have a superficial
Oh,
one, word of the
Okay.
day, that I'll say after it. I was gonna say after this.
yeah.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I was gonna go funny at first, but then I saw that we were all going Eckhart
Calling
Tolle on this cast. So let me
Exactly.
get so
Well,
I'm gonna drop the fifth
we could
agreement.
do one genuine and one saucy.
We could. You're absolutely right. We could do one saucy. Okay, great. One more heartfelt thing I know for sure is that 9 times out of 10, being kind will unlock a lot.
Mm.
Sometimes you do not need to be kind, but it's just if you default to kindness and nice, you're going to get a lot more milk out of that tit than if you're nasty. 9 times out of 10. There are some times in which you do need to bring it out. But I've gotten so much in my life from being nice,
Mm.
genuinely nice, because to me, kind is different than nice for
Mhm,
sure.
mhm.
But kindness requires a lot of heart and like thought. Niceness is very is superficial. You can just be nice to someone, but nice is like is the front door of kindness. You know what I mean?
Mm.
It's just like when you see someone, you're just nice to them. You don't know them. There's no reason to be kind. You're just being nice, and it's usually a really helpful way to move through the world. You can get a lot that way.
Yeah.
And my other thing that I know for sure, and this is something that I have discovered over the years. I used to use Fabuloso as my main cleaning agent,
Yeah.
but I have switched to Pine Sol. I'm going to tell you why I switched to Pine Sol.
Okay.
Andrew, thank you. He pulls it up. I have switched to Pine Sol after years of Fabuloso.
Yes.
And here is why. Fabuloso might smell better,
Mm-hmm.
right? It might, just like Detox, it might hit you with the hot verse, right? When
Right.
you come in every time. But the reason I like Pine Sol is because it's a better cleaning agent.
Mm-hmm.
It's better for mopping. It removes dirt more effectively and efficiently than Fabuloso does.
Right. Wow.
Are you mopping your floors?
Mm-hmm.
Are you
Wow, love
not?
that. I think I have not shared this because we did have a pretty vocal, like, those white people, they don't be mopping their floors, to quote Juan or whatever. They just like Swiffer, and I was like, I'm a Swifferer.
Honey, that that is nice, and Pine Salt is kind. You know what I'm
I
saying?
see.
Like,
Yes.
I need to be kinder to my
you
apartment.
definitely do.
It's also because where am I storing the thing? I don't have I don't have the space for the mop, It's like
And
that.
by the way, you know what? Next week, I'm going to teach you guys how to mop
Work.
I would
This
love
is like
that.
RuPaul teaching
properly.
us how to parallel park. I love.
Correct.
That's what we need. We
Yes.
need more tutorials on how to live a life. Like,
Yes.
honestly, truly.
I like this little life. No, but Pine Sol, you can actually also use it in. A lot of people don't like to do this because it's a little bit intense and it seems not it's counterintuitive, but you put a little bit in your laundry. You wouldn't put it like in your most delicate thing ever,
Right.
but you literally pour. You've put fabuloso in your laundry too. People do that too, like a cap full or two.
Interesting.
But if
Oh,
you
I
put
have
pine
not done
salt
that.
in your laundry, it's gonna help. Like if you're, when you put in socks, even black socks,
Yeah.
and the bottoms are really dirty,
Yeah.
do an experiment with just washing them and don't, not the same ones. Take like 4 socks and put a little bit of pine salt on that. It helps take off the dirt big time.
Ooh, okay.
Interesting.
Pine salt. I know for sure. Although I love fabuloso, I used to love fabuloso, but it's now something I know for sure. I've tried it, and that's my experiment.
Wow.
Well,
Okay.
For me, one thing is for certain, and 2 things are for sure. That if you fuck around, you will find out. And I know that feels very general, but if you fuck around, you will find out. And that could be said in so many different ways and taken so many different ways. But yeah, the call will always be answered. There's so many idioms I could just say without saying anything. But
and it will likely be coming from inside the house.
Correct.
Like Karma is that girl. Like, and I believe in her. I know a lot of people don't believe in her, and I do. I think that, like wherever you go, there you are.
There you are.
So, listener, take that as you will, but just know the toll collector always comes to collect the toll.
Maybe Djokovic is paying for his bad behavior with booze while he plays. It's like, okay, you will.
Absolutely.
Maybe the sort of the Greek, mythology story of like the curse that they get is you will be the GOAT, but no one will like you. Oh my God, that is crazy. That is evil. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, listen, if Scar had gotten to rule over Pride Rock,
Well, he did.
forever. I know, but like forever.
Oh yeah, okay.
You know what I mean? Who
Yeah.
cares? As long as he's winning, and Djokovic is winning, he just didn't.
Well, he
He's
did.
still winning. He's like, okay, hate me with a gold medal.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the thing,
Household name.
Go out and vote.
Household name.
Go out and vote, because if you fuck around, you will find out.
Beautiful gowns, actual beautiful gowns. Guys, I don't have a funny one thing I know for sure. Those kind of come to me like very sort of randomly and sporadically, like in the moment, and so it would feel insincere right now to try and like pull one out of thin air.
Okay.
So maybe what we do is we live some life, and then
Is the
Juan, I
air
just voice
thin?
memo it to you.
Is air thin? You know that
What an
saying?
Ian Paget question to ask. I love that.
Yeah, it is. Like, I just thought of that when you said that, like thin air. I'm like, why would we pull something out of thin air? And is air thin? Because I was like, what if you said obtuse air? There's a lot of it, but maybe air is, I don't know, something to think about.
What? That is a really interesting thing.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. Okay. Let's.
This is
I just don't want to pull it.
air
It's
thin.
so hard to pull out of just thin air. Interesting, but so technically, if it was
the
fat
Earth's
air,
atmosphere is an extremely thin sheet of air extended from the surface of the Earth to the edge of space. The Earth is whatever. Apparently, air is thin. Air, the skinny legend.
So like, something pulling out of thin air. I'm just gonna pull that out of thin air. But like, why is that the idiom?
Okay, I'm getting the meaning. Used to refer to the state of invisible or non-existence. She just vanished into thin air. So, yeah, it's basically,
Thin air walked so that coconut tree could run.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
We laugh now, but yeah,
too
in
far.
like 20, 30 years, someone's gonna be like, did you just fall out of a coconut tree?
Yeah, you can't just fall out of the coconut
Yeah.
tree.
Exactly. And apparently the idiom it comes from the idiom of vanish into thin air.
Vanish.
I see.
Which is an older idiom which goes back to the 16th century, can found in Othello. To vanish.
Oh.
It's in Shakespeare, to vanish into thin air, apparently.
Wow. Oh, yeah. Okay. And now that
He said, a character says,
I am a
then
pentameter.
put up your pipes in your bag, for I'll go away. Go, vanish into thin air, away. Here, thin air emphasizes the notion of something disappearing completely and mysteriously.
Oh my God. You just channeled Dame Judi Dench right there.
Period.
Judy's always there. She's got there first. She's always there.
You
What?
want my hearing aid?
Yeah.
That won't work. It won't fit.
Oh my God. We are. I hope we become those women. We are those women.
Yes. we are, we
Yes,
are.
yes.
Oh, yes. Yes.
The Queen.
The Queen's English.
No, we don't talk about that here in my upbringing, darling. Of course not.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
it's funny how when we hear Yesh, we either think the Queen's English, and my mind goes to, oh Yesh. What was the question?
Juliette Lewis. Sorry, not Juliette Lewis. Jennifer Lewis.
Jennifer Lewis. Oh my God.
We had brain rot. That last
yeah, we
minute
need
was
to get
true signs of
offline.
brain rot. We need to get offline. But we touch
Wow.
grass. You two certainly touch grass.
I do be
I
touching
did.
grass.
I felt
Oh,
it.
who are you saying that to? You said you
To both of
definitely.
us.
You said you definitely touch grass.
You two.
You
You
two.
two.
Oh.
I said you two.
Oh,
you two touch.
I do touch grass.
Mm-hmm.
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 There's a lot of mm-hmm-ing. Maybe this episode is called
Mhm.
what now?
What now?
Yeah.
Well,
Wow.
and when you think about your superficial
My
thing you know for
superficial
sure.
thing I know for sure.
Well,
One thing
we'll add it later.
You
Oh,
have,
yeah, we
or
can
you
add
have
it
a
in
week
post.
to tell it at the top of the next episode.
Ooh, I like that. Ooh, what's a new thing you know? What if we all just had a little assignment and it was a new thing we knew for sure that week? You're like, you know what I learned this week that I now know for sure? It could be that.
Yeah.
It could be your lesson of the week. We
yeah,
could share
a
it.
lesson of the week. I love it.
Also for
Look
you
at that.
listeners, because in that way
Programming.
you can share like, oh God, I help us. Yeah, exactly. And remember,
Love
if you did or didn't, just remember to always like, subscribe, and rate.
Oh yes, please rate and review the show. We haven't asked for that in a long time.
Yeah, but rate it the
So
way
here
we
we are
want
with-
you to rate it.
How's that?
5 estrellas.
5 estrellas, por favor.
5 stars
5
for those for my English speakers.
5 stars.
5 stars. Well, we
5
love
stars.
you.
We love
Thank
you.
you so much for joining us on another episode of Tres Leches.
Bye.
Everyone say bye.
Bye.
¡Qué rico!